Hello, this is Beata Seweryn-Reid. I'm a transformation life coach. I'm a host for Meaningful Conversations show, which I present to you every Tuesday at noon. And I bring best guests I can find for you. Why I created the Meaningful Conversations? Because I believe that sometimes we feel lonely in our struggles in life. And I love to share meaningful stories, personal stories that my guests are bringing here. Please tune in. I have very, very special guest. You already can see him. Well, who is it? Jack Nicholson? Yeah! No, it's Roland Thompson.
You want me to be on your show to do what? Impersonate or impression of Roland Thompson? Oh well, I will try to do the best I can.
Yeah, Roland Thompson as a Jack Canfield, Jack Nicholson. What I said. So, hi, thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for your time. And well, if I would like to introduce you, I would probably have to spend the whole hour to say who you are and what you do in your life. Roland is best-selling author. His book, Mastering the Art of Success, co-authored with Jack Canfield. He is a speaker. He has multiple successful businesses, so successful entrepreneur, musician. Oh my gosh, but the latest, and I think that the project that you most connected to right now and proud is the movement, and you call it Heart of the Fathers movement. Is that true? Is there anything else that you would like to add to this introduction, Roland?
Well, the Heart of the Fathers is probably going to be the focus on these last few years that I have here on Earth. And that's because of all my experience and everything has come back down to this. There's many things that triggered that. One of them was a few years ago through I got it through my XO. On my third tour in Vietnam, my XO, I found he's a Medal of Honor winner, and he ended up serving under the cabinet in Mitt Romney's cabinet, which led me to the book No Apologies. And when I was reading in there, I realized that chapter 6, it said that the baby boomers are heading to becoming the worst generation. So little things like that kind of trigger the heart. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm a baby boomer. I don't want to be known as the worst generation. And I researched it out. And basically, Tom Brokaw writes about the greatest generation, which is our parents and our grandparents. And they created this country so that us could have a great place to live. And they succeeded at it. But I look at what we're doing and man, we're really not pulling our weight. And so my main thing is asking the right sunset generation, the boomers and such, to actually join me and help me in doing whatever we can to leave this country a better place than what we found it.
And so like you all here, Roland is not only fulfilling his own dream and his family dream. He's dreaming like worldwide. He wants to bring his wisdom and experience and share it with everyone so we all can grow. But let's go back to the topic and it's all connected to the topic of our today's interview, which you said that I believe that we are all here for a reason. But we cannot do it alone. And it's what you just said. That's why your focus is on sharing your experience and your wisdom with others. But tell me what you really mean by that. We are here for a reason, but sorry, you cannot do it alone.
Well, I have the opportunity to lecture at colleges and try to get in front of as many millennials and the Gen X or Gen Zers, the young people, as possible. And one of the first things that I bring to their attention and I want them to do is to internalize, not just know it, but internalize that there are 7.6 billion people walking on this planet. And once you internalize and you realize that there is not one person on this planet anywhere that has any more right to walk on this planet than anyone else. And when you internalize that part of it, then you realize that, wow, no one is better than you, and you're not better than anyone else. And then you realize that there's no reason why we can't love everyone. And then you start looking at that, and it's like when you start thinking about, wow, where did I come from? Why I'm here? And I tried to get them to distinguish that the skin, this body that we're floating around in, different colors, different sizes, and such. I mean, I grew up always wanting to be somebody else, and then I realized that everybody else was already taken. So I ended up having to be me. And then I realized me is that person inside, the spirit thing, and come to the realization that who I am is separate from what my body is, and that we're actually, and I get them to realize that, hey, you're actually spiritual beings here on earth, and you're here to have human experiences. So bring it on. And that there's a purpose for each and every person here, but you also have your passion. So when you realize that your passion is a selfish thing, that's you, that's what my passion is, whether it's flying or teaching or talking or listening or reading, whatever that passion is, then, but that's for you. Your purpose is for other people. So the thing is with coaching, and I've had many coaches over the years. I mean, I wouldn't be where I am today, and if I hadn't had people help me, coach me in finding out and help me discover what that purpose is and helping me connect. And what they did, they connected that passion with that purpose and made them the same thing. And it's like, wow, this is great. I know what my passion is. One way I'll ask you, is if you only had 3 hours left to live,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and ask your audience, if you only had 3 hours left to live, and I had the ability to put you where you would be for the last 3 hours of your life, doing whatever you wanted to do, with whomever you wanted to do, what would that be? What would you do?
Last 3 hours in my life, where I would like to be. I would like to be surrounded with my family and my best friends and just see them happy and that I added meaning to their life.
And a lot of people, that's a very common answer, is being around family. And and I used to say the same thing, and then I realized that, oh my gosh, why should I wait till the last 3 years of my life to do that and keep procrastinating and not have that be a regret? Because what I offered you is a very unrealistic type of thing. So now I sit there and think my last 3 hours would be on a stage in front of as many young people as I possibly can to give them my message. To be able to give them the message of what I just shared about them being individuals, that they're here for a purpose. And the one reason why people don't go after their purpose and they're afraid of what other people think. They have fear, fantasized experiences appearing real. They have fear. So I help to get them over that fear.
Right.
And so I can do that. I've stood in there. Can you hear that noise?
A little bit.
My maintenance guy today will be one of the last days of the winter. But anyway, it's getting over that fear. So I want them to go out and forget about what other people think. Realize that no one is better than you and go after it. So, but you can't do it alone. You can't figure out what that is. You've got to realize that on the planet, on the earth, that there is a higher being. There is a God. He can talk to us. and all you have to do, they tell you to seek, knock, and ask. It's written, seek, knock, and ask. Unfortunately, 95% of the people don't do that.
Right.
Seek and you shall find. Knock, so seeking is just being aware. Knocking and asking is, just asking, just whomever, asking God, whoever, and then knocking is taking action. It didn't just go do it. And then because you get this one shot while we're here on this temporary life before we go on. So why not make the most of it? And I have found that the best way of doing that is serving others and being around family. And so you saying you're being around family and all the time. Serving and family.
Right.
And that, so, and when you find some of the people's purpose is like you're a life coach.
Yes.
You want to help your family and your friends, to inspire them to be the best they possibly can be. And you help, what you do through asking them questions is helping them find out what their passion and their purpose, and you connect that. And
right.
you skip a lot of years and not be afraid. But
this is great what you just said, because me as a coach, I ask questions, but I don't give the answers. I want my clients to find their own responses, because what works for me is not necessarily gonna work for them. And I think it has a lot to do with what you said before, that passing on the younger generations your wisdom and experience is not so much about telling them what to do and this is your purpose or this is what you're supposed to do, but help them to find on their own what things in their heart for them. So how and another thing is that you are a happy grandfather, husband, grandfather of 42, 33rd is 44,
42 grandchildren.
Yeah,
four of them are great. 4 of them great. They're all great. But
right. So your connection, I think you have wonderful relationships with all your family, relatives, friends. So if you could give us an advice, how you do it, how do you bridge the gap between your grandchildren and your generation? Because sometimes I have a feeling when I listen to even parents that it's actually pretty bad when they act like a bosses, not leaders, because boss and leader is different. And you should do this. I in your age was blah, 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 blah. First of all, it's not the same. You were living a different time. So tell me, how do you build these great relationships, and how do you pass your wisdom and experience without pushing on your grandchildren?
You bring up a really good point, and that's one of the, when I sit there, and one of the Heart of the Fathers movement does just that. And it's creating, we have like reachingtodaysgrandchildren.com is a site that's kind of a spinoff from the Heart of the Fathers, working on connecting the grandchildren. One of the things I really learned was that if you really, you could either, the Chinese proverb, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, teach him a fish, he feeds himself for a lifetime. But I go a step further. Instead of giving them fish, you can't teach them a fish, come in and fish with them. And what you do is with each of my grandchildren, and like I said, 42, here, I'm going to show you something. I had them here. This is October pink, but I have socks. I have socks with each of my grandchildren's faces on them.
Oh my gosh.
And it's with Tintin, it brings up when I wear them, people ask about them. And so the thing is to sit there. And so every time I'm in the presence of any of my grandchildren, and I started this 3 years ago, and it realized that, they're on their cell phone, they don't come around, they don't listen, I can't connect, and all this. And I try to tell them things, but realize that they're under pressure by their parents. Their parents treat them like the acorn they are. We've got to treat them like the oak tree that they're going to become. And what we've got to do is to learn everything you can about them, not to lecture them, not to teach, not to share. It's just go in and learn. When you know and learn and know who they are, then they will know who you are. And I've got some like 2 or 3 really personal, life-changing stories with some of my grandchildren. When I realized that, it'd be nice if they change, but when I realized that they're not going to change, I'm going to be dead and they're going to still be who they are. And if I only got this one chance to make an impact on them, then I'm going to be very intentional about it. So one of them is being intentional. And so we're right now, my team, we're working on a book. I haven't really got a title. Right now it's reaching today's grandchildren. And the Heart of the Fathers is a resource. And Heart of the Fathers comes from the scriptures. When you look in the Old Testament, the last 2 verses of the Old Testament was, before the great and dreadful day, the Lord would bring the prophet Elijah to bring the heart of the fathers to the children, heart of the children to the fathers. And when that hit me, I was like, so what in the heck is heart of the fathers? And I realized the heart of the fathers is my grandchildren. That's my heart. And their hearts is definitely not me, but it's their passion and their dreams.
Yeah.
And connecting them. And then when I started reading, and then I read like in John chapter 21, verse 15, and when the Savior asked Peter, do you love me? He said, yeah, then feed my lambs and feed my sheep. And he said that 3 times. What does that mean? And then I realized that that's inspiring. I can feed the body and give them food, but how do you feed this? And that's one of the reasons why, we're in the music business, the entertainment business. We have one of the top recording studios in the Northwest. I partner with one of my sons who's an award-winning singer-songwriter, and I go on tour with them. And we just recently wrote a song together, and we got pretty well through the studio. This is one of the stories. And my 17-year-old granddaughter, who lives 4 hours away, was, kind of down and under a lot of pressure. So every time I'm around her and I text her, how's your day going? And I talk about her and found out she loves music. And then when I was over there one day, she was showing me a song she wrote. And I listened and I recorded it on my phone. I thought, this is really good. You remind me of the artist. I don't even know who Dido is, but just beautiful. Yeah. Just a great music. And it's like, and I sit there and I went back. And so this song that we wrote together, my son's voice, he's got an extremely chaste, he's got a great voice. He goes by Oren, O-R-Y-N now, if you want to check him out, Oren Official. Anyway, and he's got a great voice, but I said, Angie would be a great voice on that. She's, and so I drove over on a Thursday. She got out of school on Thursday. She got to skip school on a Friday. I drove her over here. I told her parents, we spent 2 days in the studio recording her singing this song. Plus we have a video production company and we do music videos and stuff. And we worked 2 days to shooting music videos so that we can create this manifesto. And the song is, whether we really have a title, but it's sung from the grandchildren singing to the grandparents. It's the rising generation singing to the sunset generation. And the lyrics are pretty inspired. We sit there and realize we took a 3-day retreat to write this, and we realized that we looked at it and said, oh my gosh, we didn't write this. This came from above. This is great. And it was actually, I've written books, but I've never written songs. So this time I got to write my first song. And so now that'll be coming out. I think the production deadline I gave them was 23rd to have the whole thing done, because I'm heading out of town to a place where I might be able to display it. But it'll be released, and that'll be kind of the manifesto for this Heart of the Fathers. And so that, and it's finding her, but I'm fishing with her.
Yes.
I'm letting her realize her dreams. And her parents are, oh, you need your grades. You're going to get what? How come you didn't answer your text? Oh, I was grounded off of it. I would never so I never disciplined any of my kids, grandkids at all. I never criticize them or anything. I'm there. I just hug them, tell them I love them, and when they're around, and all of a sudden they want to be around me more and more and more. And when you say, how do you get them off of this? You distract them. So now when I'm around, they put it down. Because I'm asked about them and talk their language. And so this, finding out their purpose and the reason they're here is you learn. And by listening to them and stuff, and pretty soon you don't tell them, you just kind of guide them to it. And it's like, I had a granddaughter in my office a little while ago. I said, what is your dream? And she, oh, it's silly and you don't want to hear it. It's kind of dumb. And she's 19. I go, test me, try me. And she told me. It was kind of out there, but I said, why not? Jim Rohn's whys, the 4 whys. Why? Why not? Why not you? And why not now?
Beautiful.
And he's sitting there and she goes, really? Do you think so? So yeah, let's do it together. Whatever you want, let's do it together. I've got your back. Don't worry about what other people think of it. It's not what you want to do. And it may not end up being what it is, because as you know, when we go through life, we go down this path that we think is our purpose.
Right.
All of a sudden we hit a road that we never would have hit if we hadn't have started going down that path. And then it opens up a whole new world out there.
Right. And especially for young children, young generations, this purpose can change. Like it's okay if it's changed. Now you think that it's what you're supposed to do, but in a couple of years you grow, you change, like everything else is changes, and it's okay. Yes. So instead of getting on them, it's like, you started one school, the other, you don't know what you do with your life.
Right.
No, just help them to grow, help them to go through all these life stages that they go through.
And there's another one, and it's kind of, it was brought up. We've gotten to know. I've gotten to know Dan Reynolds, and there are people with Imagine Dragons, and and he has his message, and and it just opened my eyes on a lot of this, and then I realized that I have two friends whose teenagers committed suicide.
Wow.
I mean, I thought, what would it be like if all of a sudden one of my sons calls me up and says my 14-year-old daughter committed suicide? I mean, think about the pain. And I'm thinking, the first question is, how come no one's seen it coming? It's because they have no one to go to, to talk to. And grandparents have got to be that person they go to. They don't have to be the second parent or whatever. Let the parents do that. It's a whole new role. And that's where this whole book that we're writing on is, how do you do that? And then bringing all the grandparents together and sharing their examples and stuff, and focusing before we leave what we can do to help these children find their purpose and the reason they're here. Let them know that even when they're not around, that the comforter will be there. All they have to do is call on him, and say, hey, help me here. And how do you do that? You can't tell them that. They've got, like you said, they've got to discover it themselves. And when you're with them, and I've done this, I said, hey, we're going to go do this. And I said, before we do, can we just do what I do all the time before I'm faced with this challenge? What's that? And we dropped on our knees, and I just sat there and I prayed, by example.
That's beautiful.
And it's not, I wasn't telling them to do it. It's like, this is what I do. There are so many things that pushing people away from those values, because we're known for what we oppose.
Right.
We're opposed, and there are guidance out there. They don't want to be around negative and what they're opposed, we don't do this and all this. They need guidance. They need a light. They're wandering out there in this darkness, right? And we're telling them, don't go there, don't go there, don't go there. It's still dark for them, and we're telling them, don't do this, don't do this, and they're guiding them. And we don't provide the light for them. And what we got to do is is to find out and just start talking to them, and all of a sudden be that light, that when they are in that position of where they want to go, that they come to us and they sit there. One of them is an individual. When I say my grandchildren, and I say grandchildren, they're an object. But when I look at each morning, when I sit there and I close my eyes and I give thanks, I go through and I name all 42 of them. And I picture them, because it's with intent. And sure, what's that? 10 minutes? of my life,
Right.
something that can make a big difference in everything. And so that's what I do. And if you don't have grandchildren, you have nieces and nephews.
Right.
I have very close friends who have children. If you're elderly like me, there's still a chance to make a difference and to make this world a better place than what we found it. And they are the ones that are going to be leading this world into the great day down the road. They're going to be the leaders, and they need all the wisdom and help we can. And the only way we can do that is to learn everything we can about them and help them discover the reason they're here, because they are not going to be able to do it by themselves.
That is beautiful. That is so aligned with where we started, that we are all here for a reason and we cannot do it alone.
Right.
And grandparents, and I'm an aunt. I support my nieces and nephews in all I can. Coaches, mentors, reach out to younger generations. Please give them a hand, not as a boss that you should do this and that or don't do that. Just listen and hear them, like just Roland said. Be the light.
Well, that's the thing. You bring the thing about boss and leaders. A leader is somebody that people want to follow.
Right.
Be the light that people want to follow. You can't just say you're a leader and nobody follows you. Then you're not a leader. You're a boss.
Right.
So be the person that people want to follow.
Absolutely. I couldn't say it better. Last question. What is the biggest treat for you, just for you, when you don't work on your projects?
What is the biggest treat?
Yes.
I read. I mean, what I do, I love the time is to read and learn from other people's experiences. It would take an eternity to experience all the experiences there are on Earth. You can only experience what you can. The only other way to learn other experiences is through, I call it LPE, other people's experiences. Listening to lectures, YouTube, interviews that you do, reading books. Well, I'll give you one last life-changing book. I've ordered a few of them, and I give them out to people.
All right.
And 20 years ago, it was life-changing. I've gone through 3 experiences where I've been in 2 comas and I've drowned, which are exclusive. My experiences are exclusive to me, so I don't share them.
Okay.
This book here, called The Message by Lance Anderson, it was written 20 years ago. When I read it, it was like, I'll just tell you it's true. It just gave me so much hope and answers a lot of questions for me. And he was 40 when he had his experience. He died when he was 45. And he passed away here 20 years ago. And I think I'm going to get the opportunity to meet. I'll get to meet his family, or part of the family, in a couple of weeks. But it was reading that. I read it twice already. I'm read it again, and I'm reading some other books and just learning all these other experiences. Because when you read, you can read nonfiction. I read fiction, but I love reading nonfiction and learning about my history and the way we were, because it just, I don't know. I just most of the time I'm reading. I hate writing, so I hire people to write for me.
But it's so, yeah, it's how it should be. We do what we love, and what is not pleasure, just let someone else to do it. It's pleasure for them.
I gave up golfing. I quit golfing. I quit fishing. I quit all of this stuff that people look for to hear, and it's like, no, I'm done with that. I don't even like to go out and we travel every year. We go on big vacations, but I like to just stay around here working on this, because I realize how short time is. I joke with my kids. I got, statistically, I got less than 12 years left. And it's like, we used to joke, and we started that when I used to say I had 20 years left, and now it's down to here. But I know I'll be around longer. I mean, whether it's
yes, because you have still a lot of wisdom and experience to share with all of us and your grandchildren and great grandchildren.
Thank you.
How can we reach out to you? What is the easiest way to connect, to find you? Facebook, probably. There is one way.
Yeah, I'm a Facebooker. I have friends on Facebook. I'll be slowly posting when things happen, when we get the book done, when the song is done. We'll look at ways to release that to people. I have a team working on, eventually get our website. We do have kind of a website, the reachingtodaysgrandchildren.com is up. We have heartofthefathers.com, but it's still not active. And so we're really in the infancy of this. And I'll be creating a nonprofit foundation called Heart of the Fathers Foundation that specifically will be bringing resources for the sunset generation and resources and ways of doing it. I love to go out speaking to older audiences and trying to inspire them to reach out to the younger generation, answer their questions, and helping them through that, doing all I can before I'm gone. It goes by too fast. So I'm doing what I love doing.
Yes. So everyone who wants to connect with Roland and maybe find out more how he get to this stage of life when he just enjoys his life without pressure. He is just so, oh my gosh, he's wonderful human. And it's what I already said before, that except all the projects and titles he has, what I see in him is wisdom and the human being that cares for others. And it just speaks straight to my heart. And I believe it speaks to yours as well. So please connect and support his projects, especially the Heart of the Fathers movement, because it's not just for him. It's not at all for him. He is good in his life. It's for the future generations, for your kids and your kids. So please connect, find out how maybe he can speak to your audience. I don't know, invite him for an interview on Facebook. Come on, you will have Roland Thompson as Jack Nicholson. So
thanks, Beata.
Thank you so very much. It was a pleasure. And I will post how the people can find you on Facebook. And if there is anything else we want to say.
No, we probably overstayed our time.
It was worth it because you have such a, like, again, wisdom and experience that I don't think that we hear enough every day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening, and see you next Tuesday. Bye.
Bye.